Hey Manish, thank you so much for coming over here. It is amazing to having you. And जब हम लोग की first बात हुई, so I never thought कि I will like you will be giving a reply because you had such a huge amount of following. So, but still, thank you so much for coming back. And yes, so without wasting time, let's hop into the podcast. So Manish, I know you a little bit, but to all the listeners who are like unable to like connect with you, please tell about yourself so that they understand like from where are you coming.
So first of all, that's so nice of you. So I try to reply whoever texts me most number of times, and I feel I should share my experiences with the people like you or freshers, so it might help them. So इसलिए I try my best to reply all the messages. And talking about myself, so yeah, so I have been in the IT industry for almost 5.5 years. And I did my graduation from Satyabama University. It's not a very known university, but it's good. And so I was placed in Wipro through campus placement, and I was there for 3.5 years. And there I realized that the exposure and the kind of money I'm making is not good enough for me. And that's when I decided that I have to try and I have to switch or move to maybe a product company or a startup company. And that's when I started preparing myself for interviews. Because if you're in a MNC, it's hard to get into a startup or product-based company.
Right.
So it took me almost a year, and after giving around 15-16 interviews, I got through ZETA's interview and I joined ZETA. I was in ZETA for almost 1.5 years. It's in fintech domain, and I guess because I was in fintech domain, I was able to crack the interview of Grab, which is a Singapore-based startup, which is again in fintech space. And yeah, so God has been very kind till now, and I have been learning and moving ahead in my career, and I hope the same continues in further as well. So yeah, that's it about my experience.
Great. And also, you have a following on Quora and YouTube as well. Would you like to share something on that?
Yeah, so I started Quora just as a curious reader, and later I figured out that even I can write and reach more people. So I am active on Quora for last four years. For past couple of months, I'm not that active, but still, at least I try to write whenever I find time. I have around 15 million views over there on my answers, and I have around 7,000 followers. Same thing with YouTube. So I started when I just passed out from my college. So whenever I find, like, it's not regular or it's not like that I'm making videos every week, but whenever I have something to share or something in my mind, it could be with fitness or with my experience or with anything else. If there's anything in my mind which I want to share, I make a video. And recently I have also started writing and sharing stuff in LinkedIn. So yeah, so I'm very active on social media, all the social media handles which I have.
That's great. That's great. And as you spoke, firstly, that 3.5 years in Wipro, that's a huge amount of time. So, what, according to you, is like from a fresher to this is my curiosity question, that how important is the first company that anyone starting or like leaving a college must grab? Like any, we can get into any company, but how important must be that decision? Like he had 2 to 3 offers, so what should be his mindset before choosing that?
Yeah, so that's a very valid question. So first thing is that when I was a fresher, I had no one to guide me. So I didn't have answer of this question which you're asking me. So for me, the answer was just get a job. Doesn't matter whether it's a startup or product-based company or it's a big company, small company. Just get a job, because it's frustrating that you finish your graduation and you don't have a job. If you have a job, or if you have a higher studies plan, or if your parents are doing really good, they are doing financially really good, then maybe you can have some breathing time. But for me, it was not the case. I have to prove myself and I have to get a job. So for me, the idea was to get a job. But if you ask me, now I have experience, so I would say there could be two things. Either you have many offers, or you don't have offers at all. If you have many offers, it could be two things. Either you have offers from MNCs or offers from MNCs along with product-based companies or startup companies. So if you have only offers from MNCs, then all the big MNCs are really good. I won't discriminate anyone. Whether it's Infosys, Wipro, CTS, Cognizant, Accenture, every big MNC is good, and you will have kind of similar exposure. But I have heard that companies like Wipro, Infosys give you more exposure and training, initial training.
Okay.
And if you join TCS, you have a very good opportunity to go abroad. So that's one advantage. But more or less, they have same. They are on the same line in terms of pay scale, in terms of experience. So if you are having only options to MNCs, just join anything and just go with the flow, because entering in the this corporate life is important. Later you can carve your own path, the way I did. And if you don't have any offers, neither from MNCs or from startups, then just go for internships or join any company, because in that case you need to get some experience. Otherwise, it's hard to enter the industry unless you're really good. But if you have an option where you can join a startup or product-based company, I would suggest go for that, because the kind of exposure you will get, the kind of grill or the kind of people will meet over there, you won't get it anywhere else. So if in the first couple of years of your IT industry or IT experience, if you work in a startup or product-based company, your career will be on a different trajectory. Which I personally felt, because I felt the kind of work I was doing in Wipro for 3 years, it was kind of same. Though I was earning and I was learning obviously a few bit, but not much. So my suggestion would be, first priority would be go to a product-based company or startup, be there for a couple of years, you will be really good. If not that, join any big MNCs, and if you don't have any other option, then anything is fine.
Right. And speaking of MNC, like everyone has their pros and cons. So it might not be a very huge decision to take, but yes, as you said, that between a MNC and product based, like you have seen the shift. Everyone is now running towards a product based and like startups basically. So many are rejecting the MNCs for a like newly 2 to 3 year startup also, because of the exposure and all the like the LP is also higher, the amount of package they receive. So speaking of the package, I have a really like crucial question. I'm not highlighting any specific company, but as my also campus drives are going on, I have seen the companies, the amount of package they are delivering now or they're offering now, same amount of package was being delivered like 5 to 6, 7 years back, right? So what do you think? Like this is the main reason because people are shifting from MNCs to the startup. And what are your views on this thing? Like all the LPS is same over the so many of years.
See, so you have to understand one thing, that MNCs are not wrong here, because if you see the number game, then MNCs are giving more opportunity than startups. The number of people they are hiring every year is going up and up, and they are the really one who are really giving hope to our freshers and our freshly graduates. But yeah, the reason people are moving is that one, as I said, you have a challenging environment, you learn more, and yes, you are paid well as well compared to MNCs. There you are paid well. So I would say it's a good shift, but there are many people who are not able to go through that grind, or maybe they want some breathing space in their life. So in that case, maybe MNC is a good option, and that too, MNC has a workforce of lakhs and lakhs of people. They cannot give you a hefty package like a startup or a product-based company, because they have a huge employee strength. So even they have to make sure that they keep running. So if you join a MNC, chances of going abroad is more, because startups are majorly country based. Like most of them are in India only. You don't get the opportunity to go out, and MNCs are having a good cash flow. So in case of any issue, like we had pandemic, or we might have some other issues, or so they are able to survive because they have a good cash flow, good reserve of cash. In case of startup, nobody can say how good a startup will do. Even if a startup is in the market for the last 5 years, there could be a possibility that a new startup will come and it has a better better plans, better they know the customer well, and they might beat you even if you're in the market for 5 or 6 years. So that part is there. So I would say, like, if you join a startup, always be on your toes, and keep learning, and keep checking that how the startup is doing, and how much you are learning, and be ready for this. There could be a day maybe where you will be told that maybe the startup is not doing well, and there could be also a day maybe they will tell that they have raised a fund and there is a hike in your salary. So it's like a seesaw. In case of MNCs, it's like a flat curve. Your salary will increase, but not that much gradually. Your experience will increase, your exposure will increase, but not much uh, slowly and gradually. So it's your call. If you want to if you're okay with less salary and with a good work-life balance, you want stability, go with MNCs. But you want to make more money when you are in this early stage of your career, you want to learn more, then go for a product-based company or startup. Or I would say just juggle between both of them. Maybe if you're starting with your career with a startup, later point join a MNC, or if you have started MNC, later point join, then you can only make a call for yourself.
Right. Exactly. I think this question was very well answered by you. Like every point that anyone wants to hear about, you touched everything. So thank you. That was a great answer. And talking about you a little bit more, your domain specifically, that is testing, right? Many, like there are several myths around, and you started your career in testing with Wipro itself, right? After your training, you were shifted to the testing domain. And many listening to this podcast also, they also might agree that many say that testing or testers are maybe they are not technology well sound, or they are just having a secondary to like tertiary job to a software developer. So you have been in this industry for 5.5 years and you have a lot of knowledge on testing. So please tell us like what is testing, and how anyone, like for anyone, this testing is not about coding, right? So anyone wants to be into the IT industry and maybe he or she is not very good with coding, so what are their prospects in testing? Please share.
So that's right. I won't deny that. If you see the salary comparison of a tester and a developer, then there is a difference for sure. Developers make more money than a tester, and I'm not denying that. Even I know that very well. But you have to ask this question to yourself: are you really good with coding, and can you do this for your whole life, and can you keep learning for your whole life, and do you really enjoy coding and working in the pressure environment? If the answer is yes for yourself, then I would suggest everyone should go for development, because the kind of money, the kind of exposure you get there, you won't get anywhere else. But in case if you're not that tech savvy, maybe you know a bit of coding, but you don't think that okay, I'll be doing this for rest of my life, and you want some peace in your life where you can also give time to yourself and to your family and all, then maybe testing a right job. Because though the pay is not as great as developer, I would say the pay is not even like, it's not bad compared to other private jobs. If you compare someone who's in the IT industry for 5-6 years and has a good experience in testing, they would be really getting a very handsome salary. So I have made a video on my YouTube channel, a salary of a QA tester, where I have explained this thing very clearly. So there I have mentioned for a tester, if you think you have experience of 5 years, just multiply your experience by 2 and by 4. For example, your experience is 5 years, multiply it with 2, the number is 10. Multiply with 4, the number is 20. You can easily get a package between this range in testing.
Okay.
So for example, you are really good and you have switched the company couple of times, you can easily make around 12 to 15 lakhs per annum, okay, which is roughly around 80,000 to 1 lakh per month. On top of that, you get some breathing space. You have some breathing space for yourself, for your family. You can do something else. Maybe you have some passion, or maybe you have some, like for example, I write on Quora, I write on LinkedIn, I make YouTube videos. Workout is part of my life. I cannot miss my workouts. So I make sure that I go to gym every morning, and this all is happening because with just 4 and 5 hours of work, I'm able to finish my work, and I'm saving some time for my family, for myself. So yes, developers are paid well than tester. I'm not denying that. And testers are not paid as well as the developers. Testers are not paid as well as developer. But if you're really good with the testing, if you know API testing, manual, functional, or non-functional automation, you can earn as good as developer, as close as developer. If not, at least you will be earning good enough. And I would also like to mention one point here, that when you are a testing guy or when you're a QA, you think from a user perspective. And I have seen people who has a good experience of QA becoming a product manager. And product managers are like, they earn like anything. They earn as good as developers or even more than that. So be a QA for 5, 6, 7 years, get some management skills, learn some communication skills, and you can be a product manager. And then you can earn as good as a developer, even more than that. So yes, you are right. There is some differences, but if you know how to manage, you can really have a good and peaceful career in IT, in testing as well.
Great. I think that answers a lot. So yes, we have spoken about your journey in Wipro. Now that shift, like as you spoke, like you can juggle between MNCs and product-based companies, right, and startups. So what was your thought process that was going on when you shifted from MNC, like the Wipro, to ZETA? So what was your thought process, and like what went through that thing?
So when I started giving interviews, I was getting calls only for MNCs. I hardly used to get a call from a startup, or maybe I never got a call from a startup initially. And when I was giving interviews, I cleared a couple of interviews, but the pay scale was not as great as I was expecting, and I was a little bit demotivated because I was not sure what to do. Because I was not clearing the interviews. Even if I'm clearing the interviews, the pay was not good. So I had a friend in my. I was staying in a PG, and he was my roommate. And during my struggle, he cleared interview for a startup, and he told me about his experience and about the way he's treated in the company, and the salary hike which he has got. So that gave me a kick. Let's not restrict myself to MNC. I have to try for startup. So one thing I would say, like, if you're in MNC, you won't get a call from a startup just like that. You have to put a lot of efforts, because a startup company prefers someone who has worked in a startup. So that there you have a kind of struggle for yourself. So what you have to do is that. But what I did is that I promised myself I'll not apply for a MNC. I'll only apply for startups. I'll give interviews only for startups and product-based companies. It's okay if I'll be getting rejected. I'll prepare myself, and that was my goal. So what I did, I used to give interviews. I used to apply only for startup and product-based companies. Maybe I was rejected in the 14, 15 interviews when I got finally into ZETA. So what I used to do after every interview, I used to come back and I used to sit, okay, what are the things which I didn't do well in the interview? What are the areas I'm not able to answer well in the interview? And those things I need to again prepare. So that was my challenge or my struggle. And then finally I was able to get through the ZETA's interview. And now when I'm in a startup, I don't get calls from MNCs at all. To be very frank, for past 2.5 years, whenever I have got a call for a new offer, I haven't got any offer from my MNC. So that's how the psychology works. So if you are an MNC, if you want to shift to a startup, you have to put a little bit more effort. From shifting to a startup to an MNC, it would be not that difficult, because the MNC would be knowing that you have good knowledge, you have good exposure, and you have been into pressure, so they will hire you. But sometimes, which I have heard from my friends, is that MNCs are not able to pay or to match the salary which you are getting in your startup. So usually what happens, if you switch to a startup once in your life and you are starting getting that exposure and that salary, then it becomes hard to go back to the MNC. But it's your call. If you want some peaceful life, and if you want to have settle down and with a good salary, not as good as a startup, then maybe you can switch to an MNC. But if you ask me frankly, I don't think so right now, or maybe even in future, I will go to an MNC. If I got a very good opportunity, maybe I can. But as of now, whatever experience I have, I would love to be in a startup industry.
Great. Yes, and also what was your, you had your interview with ZETA. So what anyone listening to this, what kind of questions, or like what is the basic requirement? And you have also taken interviews. Let me tell everyone that you have also taken interviews on behalf of ZETA, so that's a plus. So what is like the you have, every company has a mind, right? Like every company wants some kind of particular aspects from a candidate. So what is what ZETA wants from its candidate? Can you just share?
Yeah, so let's not restrict to ZETA. I'll talk about any startup. So startup want people. I would say who are all rounders. They just don't want who just does their work and just go to home and that's it. They want people who are all rounders, who can take pressure, who can manage stuff, who can take calls on your own. So obviously the first priority is you should be good in your in the technology which you're working in. If I'm in testing, whatever concepts of testing is there in the market, I should be aware of all of them. Even if not mastered all of them, I should have a good idea about all of them. So first priority is good, like be good in your stuff which you are doing, whether it's testing or development. Apart from this, I would say the character is very important. So the way they take interviews, they focus and see how willing you are to think, how creative you are, how open you are, how much pressure you can take, and do you have an characteristics where you can be a developer, you can be a tester, you can also manage yourself or manage a team. Like they want, as I said, they want an all-rounder. So usually what happens, any startups, they usually take 3 to 4 rounds of interviews. So the first round would be screening. That screening could be a written exam, or maybe it could be done by HR. Depends to the different companies. Then you have 2 technical rounds, and those technical rounds would be divided in different sections. For example, I was in testing, so I had 2 rounds. After the initial screening, I had 2 rounds in ZETA as well as in Grab.
Okay.
One was in manual testing, one was in automation. And the last round was with the hiring manager, where they would see like whether as a person or as a human being, are you fit in that startup culture? Are you culturally fit? With that, what is that startup culture? Is that like you are ready to take pressure, you're ready for new challenges, and you're open. And in MNCs we have this hierarchy, like okay, this is your manager, this is your lead, or this is your tester or developer. We also have the same thing in startup as well, but people are very cool. Nobody will say that okay, I'm a leader or I'm a manager, so you have to listen to me. Most of the startups, if you go, who are doing good in the market, they are very friendly. So they see okay, are you in that culture? Like, will you treat everyone equally, and will you work in that direction? So yeah, so these are the things you need to focus on. And what I suggest to everyone is that if you want to switch a particular company, it could be Google, Microsoft, or whatever it is, go and see their job description. Okay, they would have mentioned the skills and the kind of responsibilities they'll give it to you. Ask yourself, are you good in all those aspects? If not, just write it down. I would say, just write down 5 or 6 companies which you are focusing on. Go to their site, see whether they have a job as per your criteria. If they have, see their description, what roles and responsibilities they are expecting from you, and just write from all the 5-6 companies and just ask yourself, I am good in all these or not. If not, just pick point those stuff which you should learn, which you want to learn. Prepare for 2-3 months, and I'm pretty sure you can clear any interview.
Wow, like it's a very good point that you told of self introspection. I maybe out of 5 or 6 skills, I have only like 3 skills. So it's not like I have only 3 skills. I can do my hard work and like learn all the rest of the 3 skills, so that the next time the company has a opening, I can apply, and the chances of getting into that company raises by exponentially. So
if you're good in 3 points, as you said, right? And if you are a really good human being, if you have really good confidence and you can take the pressure, I'm pretty sure if the rest stuff you just know basics, company will hire you for sure. Because they know that okay, maybe you will pick it up. You can learn it later. So you have to show that character.
So after that, so that answers for both Grab and your ZETA. So moving on. you had your like two major shifts after Wipro. You had your two major shifts, and in a span of 5 years. So many ideally, it's a methodology you say, or is a myth maybe, that one must stay in a company for like 4 to 5 years and then only shift, or in a future, like HR tells you like, why did you shift so many times or something like that. So you have been into the industry, you have taken interviews, you were part of that circle. So what is your take on that? Is it really true? And if not, what is the actual truth of this job shifting?
See, so when we were speaking that day on the call, I told you, like, I told this example of Parag, who is the CEO of Twitter now. So if you go and see his profile on LinkedIn, he has 4 or 5 switches before he joined Twitter, and he never been in a company for more than a year. So he's a prime example which says that talent speaks. Why and how you switch, there could be many circumstances. Okay, it's not you just run behind the money, or you have to switch every year. It depends upon what circumstances you have switched. So yeah, there are a few companies, and even I know many people in my company which I am working on, which I have worked earlier, that many hiring managers or HRs do consider this fact that whether this guy is a durable resource or not, whether he will give more time to the company or not. So yeah, that's there, but still there are many people out there who feel that it's a right of the candidate. For example, if I'm in a company where I'm getting good exposure, I'm paid well, my promotions and my hikes are good, there is no point of changing, because I'm in this company where I know everyone, I'm very comfortable, and I know people in and out, so it's good for me. Usually when you switch a company, it's not easy, because even though you're paid well, you have to shift from a team to a different team where you are unknown to everyone. Basically, you have to do a fresh start. So even for a candidate, it's not easy. The only reason a candidate is switching is because of two things. Either they are looking for a good exposure from learning perspective, or they are looking for a good salary. If a company is giving good salary and good exposure to you, you will not switch your company. So when I was in Wipro, I would say, like, the salary was not good, even the exposure was not good. It's good to be there for 2 years, but more than that, in the same company, in the same project, I think it's waste of time, which I did. So that's why I switched to ZETA. Coming to Grab, I was very happy in ZETA, and and I was not planning to change to Grab. But when I got a call from Grab, and I looked the company's history and the kind of work they are offering, I was interested. Obviously, they were paying me well, but also the kind of work they have and the kind of technology they are working on, I was interested. So I went through the interview. So yes, there are few companies, few HRs, few hiring managers who will consider this fact, and you might lose some opportunities because of this if you're switching quite frequently. But there are also companies who will understand your needs, that you want to learn better, you want to earn better, and they will consider you. But I would still suggest that don't make it as a habit that every year you have to change.
Right.
If you are changing company every year, and you have changed 4 or 5 companies, nobody will trust you. There could be a possibility that maybe once you didn't get the kind of role you want, you didn't get the kind of salary you want, but not, you can't justify that all the 5 companies were not good and you are good.
Right.
So it's okay. You can switch, and I would suggest at least in 2 to 3 years you should definitely switch. If you are not happy with the exposure and with the salary, if you are happy with that, be that a company, you will have a very good life, because it's not easy to switch and to go to a new company and place yourself, make new friends, get used to. It's always a risk, and we also have a probation period. If anything goes here and there, you will be out of a job. So it's not easy. So that's what I feel like. It depends. Try to switch in 2 to 3 years for better exposure, for better salary. But if you feel your current organization is giving you both things at a very good level, you don't need to switch.
Exactly. And the conversation we had the other day, what I learned from that, at the end of the day, if you're having a learning curve toward the upper side, then it's all okay. If it's like stagnant or coming down, then you might have to shift. Right.
Life. See, not only the learning curve. See, as you grow, as you, like, for example, I told you that day, like, I'm getting married in next 2 months, right? So I just cannot be in a company where I'm learning good stuff but I'm not paid well.
Right.
Because tomorrow I have to take care of my wife, my family, and maybe next 4-5 years my father will retire. I have to take care of him. So I just cannot sit in a company because I'm getting to learn. I have to also earn as well, right? So I would say yes, learning should go up, and even your salary should go up.
Right.
Initially, I would say you can take a bit of risk. You can even work with low salaries and focus on your learning. But once you are reaching your 30s, like I'm 28, I'll be 30 next 2 years. So when you're reaching 30, you'll be getting married, you will be having other responsibilities. So and we majorly now it's okay we are working from home, but majorly we are staying in IT people or the software guys. They stay in cities like Pune, Bangalore, Gurgaon, Hyderabad, Mumbai, and they all are very expensive cities.
Right.
So yes, learning is your first priority, but once you have some experience, maybe 2 or 3 years, the learning and your earning both, like I think both are on the same page. They're quite equal. You just cannot rely on learning, and you can and also like if you make more money, you're more motivated, right?
Right.
It works vice versa. It's not like that you're just running behind the money. If you're learning and if you're earning as well, I think that's a very balanced situation.
On point. Exactly. Yeah, so that was a really good thing that you said that after having certain amount of experience, you can demand that amount to that company that is coming, right?
You should demand because you deserve it and you need it, not for yourself, at least for your family.
Exactly. Great question. That was my last question, summing that up. And thank you so much, Manish, for like sparing your time and coming and over a weekend. I hope I have not like wasted your time. So
I always write on LinkedIn and Quora and share my experiences, and it would be good if maybe with this video I can share this, because doesn't matter how many people will see this or not see this. I want to reach to more people, because there are many people like me, maybe who are not good with coding, or maybe who are having so much trouble in their personal life, and they want to see someone who has been through this. I'm not here to motivate. I just want to tell that everybody goes through a tough time. Just be there, hold tight, and you'll go through it.
Exactly. And we are no one is here to motivate, because we can't. We can only I think motivate is a very wrong word. We say we can inspire someone, or can inspire someone.
Last, to be very frank, it doesn't last for a long time. If you are getting motivated from someone else, it won't last longer. Maybe if you watch this video, you'll feel good for maybe a couple of days, and then you are again struggling with yourself. So yeah, that's how it doesn't work. But yeah, you should get this idea that okay, everybody goes through this. Maybe today I'm earning well and I'm stable, but that doesn't mean I was like this from day one. Even I had my own struggles.
Yes. And yes, from this podcast, I will urge everyone to give it your career start, however so it may be. You will find your path. And as Manish said, like it doesn't matter like from where you start, but it does matter where are you going.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
Great. So thank you so much, Manish, for coming. And it was great to have you.
Same here, pleasure.